Danny, I'm curious, how did you know that this story was going to make a great feature film? Because you describe it as an action movie in which the hero can't move.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that's going to be an easy sell.
Well, it's not an easy sell to, you know, financiers and the studio and things like that. But I found it an incredibly compelling story, just on a simple level that when I was reading it, I couldn't wait to find out what happened next. That's a very simple instinct. And it's a great premise for a movie, I think, because it makes you feel like, come on, come on. And then I thought, if you add to that the identity you feel with an actor who creates empathy and humanity up there for you, you'll chase him down this terrible rabbit hole he's in, you know, and you'll stay with him. And then you'll be able to tolerate the release, which is pretty tough, but it does lead to something extraordinary, because you've been on an amazing journey, this compelling journey together, and suddenly you're out in the sunlight, you know, and this feeling of euphoria you get from it is really deep, actually. It's not like a cheap thrill, you know, like a happy ending, like a feel-good movie, or it's like quite profound what you feel.
Just think.
James, I'm not claustrophobic, but this film made me feel claustrophobic. I mean, I can't imagine what it was like for you, immersed in that kind of situation.
I do spend a lot of time by myself, and I always thought, I mean, I love being around people, actually, and I live in cities largely because I need people around, and it's just something I enjoy. But I know what it's like to be alone, and so I felt like. And you know, the character talks to himself a lot, and I felt like if I could capture that behavior, I believe that, you know what, I think a lot of people talk to themselves alone. And so actually one of our approaches to this movie was not to portray a hero that people would kind of look up to from a distance, but actually bring in a common kind of experience. It's an intense experience, but it's also a very kind of uplifting experience. The way the movie's made, it brings you really along with the character. And so one thing I hear a lot of people say is, it felt like it was a ride. Let me bring you along, and you can kind of have an experience and ask yourself as an audience member, what would I do in this situation?
When you do a movie like this, and experience what Aaron experienced, does it give you kind of a new perspective on life and what's important? And
certainly, yeah. I think that was one of the. I think that was one of the objectives. I think
it was. I find it very. It's weird. I found it a very personal movie.
Yeah.
One of the most personal movies I've made, even though it's clearly about a rock climber, which I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's you know, but I felt it very personal. Some of the obligations he has to understand, grow to understand this journey he has to go on to realise that he does need people. He isn't. You know, no man is an island. He thinks he is at the beginning, basically, but he has to learn he isn't, and you need people, and those people pull him out of there. Even people that he's never met and will never meet him. In some way, this magnetic force that connects us all kind of hauls him out of there and back to us, you know. So it's a real, it's a film about a growth, really, not about a loss, you know.